Assalamu alaikum students, I hope you are doing well. In the previous few lectures we talked about psychoanalytic approaches to counseling, and in that dimension we first discussed classical psychoanalytic theory which was presented by Freud. उसके बाद हमने neo Freudians का जिक्र किया. These are the people who actually extended the concepts and views of Freud. और इनमें जो important लोग जो हमने discuss किए थे, they were 4 people. One was Alfred Adler, another was Carl Jung, the third one was Karen Horney and the fourth one was Harry Stack Sullivan. पिछले लेक्चर में हमने कुछ व्यूज़ हैरी स्टैक सलिवन के और हॉर्नी के डिस्कस किए थे. आज हम एक नए टॉपिक का आगाज़ करेंगे एंड वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग टॉकिंग अबाउट अफेक्टिव अप्रोचेस टू काउंसलिंग. अब effective approaches पे बात करने से पहले let's first review what we have discussed in the previous lecture. Like I said before, in the previous lecture we talked about some concepts of Karen Horney as a neo-Freudian, and then we talked about the views that were presented by Harry Stack Sullivan. Karen Horney in principle agreed with the idea of Freud that a person's personality is formed as a consequence of interaction with other people during first few years of life, but she differed on a number of other dimensions. For example, she disagreed with Freud that women are envious of men because they think that they are superior to them biologically. On the contrary, Horney believed that women may be envious of men because of the higher social status that men are enjoying in this world. And we discussed in the previous lecture that many of the concepts that Karen Horney has presented in her personality theory in fact are based on her own childhood experiences. She maintained that not the repressed sexual impulses are the causes of neurosis. In fact, anxiety is the cause of neurosis. और anxiety कैसे पैदा होती है? When the child's basic need of safety is not fulfilled. And she talked about 10 neurotic needs that a child could be indulged in or as a defense to avoid anxiety. और ये जो 10 needs हैं, they can be further categorized into 3 kinds of orientation toward people. One is moving toward people, when we are longing for the affection and approval of other people. And in that pursuit, we could be involved in whatever kind of behavior that is demanded from other people who are important to us. And then another orientation is moving away from people. When you think that if you are secluded from other people, if you become too independent, then people will not be able to hurt you. And the third one is moving against people, when you try to suppress other people by demonstrating your power. And Horney maintained that these 10 neurotic needs ultimately become a part of one's personality, and they are exhibited as personality characteristics of the person. She also maintained that if a child is provided with a warm, welcoming and loving environment, then all of these problems could be solved. So I think this is a very important factor which parents and other people who could be involved in the caretaking of children shall consider this very important problem or issue. The other person that we talked about in the previous lecture was Harry Stack Sullivan, who is also a very important neo-Freudian, although he did not have a direct contact with Freud. He talked about self systems. Self system जो है वो कैसे develop होता है बच्चे के अंदर. So he talks about the development of self system in the context of anxiety that is created as a result of interaction with other people. So his theory is basically different from that of Adler and Horney because he talks about social interactions. और वो social interactions जो है उनके नतीजे में जो anxiety पैदा होती है उसकी बात करता है. he talks about two dimensions of self system. One is good me self and the other is bad me self. These are actually reflected appraisals which are created in the mind and in the personality of the child when the child is punished or rewarded for good or for bad or good behavior. Perceived bad और perceived good behavior हमें कहना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये भी चीज़ें relative होती हैं. Because sometime parents जो है वो उसी बात के ऊपर डांट देते हैं और किसी और मौके पर उसी चीज़ पर बच्चे को देख करके वो ऐसा behavior कर रहा है तो हंसना भी शुरू कर देते हैं. So he maintains that the major interaction that plays a dominant role in the development of one's personality is infant-mother relationship. और हमें जो मेजर कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन सलिवन की मिलती है दैट इज ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ सोशल फैक्टर्स इन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी एंड दैट इज वेयर ही डिफर्स फ्रॉम फ्राइड. एंड देन ही टॉक्स आल्सो अबाउट स्टेजेस ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट. वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट ऑफ अदर थ्योरिस्ट्स आल्सो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल द पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट theory that was presented by Freud and then Erik Erikson. And we found that Sullivan's concepts are more similar to those presented by Erik Erikson than those which were presented by Freud. And he also presented a very different view of the counselor and role of the counselor. According to Sullivan, the counselor involves actually in the therapeutic process. And he serves as the participant observer rather than a remote interpreter. And that is why his own self, his values, his personality are indulged in that client and counselor relationship. So from that perspective, we can say that perhaps it provided an antecedent for the development of humanistic perspective जिसकी आज बात करने जा रहे हैं. तो आज मैंने आपको ये कहा कि हम effective approaches का मुताला करेंगे और effective approach में जो पहली approach है that is client centered therapy, today that will be under discussion. So let's first review what are the common characteristics of effective approaches. और बाद में हम एक effective approach के बारे में आज बात करेंगे और अगले lectures में फिर दूसरों के बारे में बात होगी. So first of all, let's discuss what are the common elements in all effective approaches. Number one, the focus is on primary affect as the cause of certain human actions and reactions. In a previous lecture, when we were talking about categorization of different theoretical approaches to counseling, we discussed that some theoretical orientations actually concentrate on thinking, while others focus on feelings. Although all kinds of theories in fact recognize the importance of both phenomena, lekin the primary focus is on either of them. So if we are talking about affective approaches, so basically affective approaches concentrate not on thought and thinking elements as much as they are concentrating on emotions and one's feelings. The second major characteristic of all affective approaches is that they help clients cope with or change their emotions for making life alterations. So affective approaches maintain that it is very important to bring a change how a person feels. अगर आप इसको change कर देंगे और इसको alter कर देंगे, then it will be possible to bring a change in one's behavior and to make life alterations. क्योंकि emotions and feelings will determine one's actions. The third thing is that they emphasize human phenomenology. What is meant by phenomenology? अभी हम जब client centered approach पढ़ेंगे तो आप ये देखेंगे कि phenomenology जो है that is a central concept in client-centered approach. Phenomenology से मुराद ये है one's own personal experiences and one's own perceptual field. My phenomenology will be different from your phenomenology. So how I will react to the situations and events will be determined by my subjective experience, and similar is true for you. So they emphasize personal human experiences and the relatedness of that with one's behavior. Another common characteristic is that they all emphasize person-to-person relationship. So this is a close person-to-person relationship जिसमें जो क्लाइंट और काउंसलर हैं दे बोथ अफेक्ट ईच अदर. एंड द नेक्स्ट characteristic is that they are humanistic in orientation, that they concentrate on the growth and development of the person. They give importance to the person as a separate, unique individual and human being. And another problem with them is that apart from all these strengths which are common to all affective approaches, they also share a common problem, and that is vagueness in interventions and different concepts that are presented by different theoretical approaches who come under the category of affective theoretical orientations. तो हमें ये नज़र आता है कि टेक्निक्स पर जोर नहीं है और टेक्निक्स कोई बहुत क्लियरली डिफाइंड भी नहीं है कि व्हाट टेक्निक दे विल बी यूजिंग एज एन इंटरवेंशन विद द क्लाइंट. और इसी तरह हमें कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स जो हैं उनमें वेगनेस नज़र आती है. We will be talking about three important affective approaches. One is client-centered approach. Second is Gestalt psychology या Gestalt therapy. And the third one is existential therapy. अब इनमें सबसे जो वेग समझी जाती है, ये उसी पिछले जो मैं बात कर रही थी उसके साथ लिंक है ये पॉइंट कि जो सबसे वेग समझी जाती है that is existential therapy. And the strongest among these three is Gestalt therapy, according to different people who have compared all these affective approaches with each other. So let's now first discuss client-centered approach. It was presented by Carl Rogers, was born in 1902. पहले थोड़ी सी बात करते हैं Carl Rogers के बारे में. He is a very important person. उसके बारे में आपने कुछ हमारी बात हुई है, डिस्कशन हुई थी when we were talking about historical overview of counseling profession. तो उसमें आपने इसके बारे में कुछ बातें जो थी वो हमने डिस्कस की थी, वो आपको याद होंगी. He was born in Oak Park, Illinois in USA, and he belonged to a fundamentalist Christian family. So they had rigid Christian orthodox views. लेकिन when he studied as a sophomore in Beijing, then he had a chance to move away from that strict Christian environment. और sophomore कौन से students होते हैं जो जिनको हम कह सकते हैं कि second year के तालिबे इल्म. तो he went to Beijing for studying as a sophomore student. Then he went to New York, and then finally he was transferred to Columbia to study psychology. After PhD at Columbia, he began work at a child guidance clinic at Rochester. He was impressed by the work of two people when he came in touch with Otto Rank and Jesse Taft. Otto Rank is the founder of will therapy, and Jesse Taft was a social worker. Both of them believed in the importance of the client, and they had that opinion that client should have the power or should be given the chance to freely express himself or herself. So he should have a free will to express, or he should dominate the therapist. तो यही ideas लेकर Carl Rogers जो था उसने अपने काम का आगाज़ किया, and he brought these ideas to USA that no one should lead or no one should be able to run another person's life. Every person is unique और उसको अपने तरीके से ज़िंदगी गुजारने का हक होना चाहिए. और अब हम जब उसकी थेरेपी की बात करेंगे तो आप ये देखेंगे कि ये आइडियाज़ जो हैं ये बहुत ज़्यादा डोमिनेंट है इस थेरेपी में. Carl Rogers worked both in academic and clinical settings. एजुकेशनल सेटिंग में भी काम किया है उसने, और उसने जो है वो क्लिनिकल सेटिंग्स में पेशेंट्स के साथ भी काम किया है. एंड ही हैज़ टॉक्ड अबाउट हिज वर्क इन 2 books. वैसे तो और भी बुक्स हैं, लेकिन ज़्यादातर जो मशहूर हैं वो काउंसलिंग एंड साइकोथेरेपी एंड क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड थेरेपी. इनके बारे में भी पहले मैंने बात की हुई है आपसे व्हेन वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट हिस्टोरिकल ओवरव्यू ऑफ काउंसलिंग प्रोफेशन. सो व्हाट इज़ क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड अप्रोच, और क्यों हम इसको क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड कहते हैं? क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड और पर्सन सेंटर्ड जो हैं दे आर द टर्म्स विच आर unanimously used, interchangeably used in text in order to refer to this technique. या इस अप्रोच की तरफ जब हम बात करते हैं तो क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड भी बोला जाता है और पर्सन सेंटर्ड की टर्मिनोलॉजी भी बोली जाती है. बट इन मोस्ट ऑफ द टेक्स्ट क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड इज प्रिफर्ड, और एक और भी वजह ये है कि क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड जब हम कहते हैं तो इट रेफर्स ओनली टू दैट अप्रोच दैट इज़ यूज्ड इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ काउंसलिंग. जब हम पर्सन सेंटर्ड कहते हैं तो वो बाकी हेल्पिंग प्रोफेशंस जो है उससे भी उसका लिंक बन जाता है. So Rogers rejected the prevalent idea of an irrational and self-destructive individual and emphasized that the individual can guide, regulate and control himself. In fact, Rogers' ideas at that time, they were reaction to the classical psychoanalytic approach, which believed in being very probing, interpretive and highly diagnostic. हमें ये वाले एलिमेंट्स जो हैं वो बहुत डोमिनेंट नज़र आते हैं क्लासिकल साइको एनालिटिक थेरेपी में. एंड कॉल रॉजर्स प्रेजेंटेड entirely different views from those which were practiced by classical psychoanalysts. He also rejected the most prevalent idea of that time that individual human beings are irrational, they are involved in deficient functioning or they are self-destructive individual. Uski bajaye, Carl Rogers presented a new view which was more positive of human beings. And that idea claimed that human beings are able to make their own choices and decisions which could be helpful for their lives. So he gave importance to the uniqueness of the individual and the abilities of the person. ये जो आपको तस्वीर नज़र आ रही है, ये इस चीज़ को इंडिकेट कर रही है कि जो सारी जो फोकस है वो क्लाइंट पर है. Whatever the client is saying is important and client will ultimately be able to decide for himself or herself. What is the view about human nature as explained by Carl Rogers? There are 4 important things that I would like to discuss in this reference. One is that client-centered approach has a belief in the dignity and worth of each individual. Each individual is capable to decide for himself, herself. Each individual is able to make wise decisions, or each individual shall be given respect and dignity. अब दूसरी एक बात जो हम कह सकते हैं कि उसी से रिलेटेड है कि क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड अप्रोच gives importance to the phenomenological world of the client. If you are accepting the individuality of the person, तो आप उसके experiences को भी accept कर रहे हैं. So Rogers maintained that one's behavior and orientation toward life is determined by own subjective values. जो मेरी subjective values हैं, they are my subjective and phenomenological world, and they may be different from that of another person. इसीलिए there could be different threats to different people. एक चीज़ जो है वो हो सकता है किसी शख्स के लिए बुरी हो और दूसरे के लिए बुरी ना हो. For example, a person who believes that he is very attractive, and if he is rejected by a woman, he may be very hurt because it is not consistent with what he believed. So his experience is not consistent with his phenomenological world. So in that way, threats could also be different to different people. And Carl Rogers believed that we should always try to understand the phenomenology of the person, the subjective experience of the person. और आजकल आप ये देखें कि साइकेट्री में भी, क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजी में भी और काउंसलिंग में इस चीज़ की बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस है कि what is the subjective experience of the person. Even those kind of phenomena which are rejected by psychiatrists or clinical psychologists, जो ये कहते हैं कि for example people are having delusions or hallucinations, तो अगर वो इस तरह के experiences हों तो they may be diagnosed as having schizophrenia. लेकिन आजकल इस चीज़ का ट्रेंड बहुत फ़रोग पा रहा है कि आप उसको पेशेंट और क्लाइंट के रेफरेंस से देखें कि हाउ दैट क्लाइंट इंटरप्रेट्स हिज डिल्यूजन्स. उसके नज़दीक क्या अहमियत है, उसके डिल्यूजन्स को वो क्या मीनिंग अता करता है खुद, तो उसके नज़दीक उसकी अहमियत क्या है. मे बी इट कुड बी मीनिंगफुल फ्रॉम दैट पर्सनस phenomenological world or from that point of view. The third thing is a tendency towards self-actualization. Rogers defines self-actualization as the inherent tendency of the organism to develop all capacities which maintain or enhance the organism. So Rogers believes that it is the inherent tendency of the individuals to grow, to work for their freedom, individuality, to work for health, adjustment and so on. और कभी कभी उसमें hindrance कैसे आती है due to our circumstances and when we are not aware of our own potentials. और ये फिर एस्पेक्ट है जिस पर क्लाइंट और काउंसलर ने मिलकर गौर करना होता है. Another view about human nature is the belief that all people are good and trustworthy. So it presents actually a very positive aspect of human beings, positive aspect of human nature. Roger acknowledges that sometimes people behave differently or they may not be behaving in a trustworthy way. तो क्या वजह है कि why people behave in a way which does not convey the meaning of trustworthiness, और उससे लोग का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है हम ये कहते हैं कि all people are good and trustworthy वो negate होता है. So he believes that all people have the inherent tendency to behave in a good way, but when people are behaving in a cruel or untrustworthy way, या फिर when people are demonstrating or showing hatred toward other people, then they are being actually defensive. And why they are being defensive? Because when there is an inconsistency between their real and ideal self, then they are threatened. Then they become more vulnerable to external threats of the remarks which could be given to them by different people. And when they become more vulnerable, then they become then they are involved in that behavior which is actually different from basic human nature. तो हमें ये नज़र आता है कि Rogers presents, as I stated before, a very positive view about human nature. And as he has a positive view about human nature, that is why he thinks that individual human beings are capable to grow, to work for the betterment of their own lives. That is why the therapy is client centered, क्योंकि client जो है वो ये काम खुद कर सकता है because उसमें ये capacity है और उसको सिर्फ एक facilitator की ज़रूरत है. अब इसी point को लेके चलते हैं, the role of the counselor. इसी से फिर determine होता है counselor का role. So the counselor promotes a climate in which the client is free and encouraged to explore all aspects of self. Basically, the role of the counselor is to provide that kind of environment which is not criticizing, which is not judgmental, and which is in fact providing emotional and psychological security to the client. It is that environment where the client will be able to grow और जहाँ वो अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस कर सकेगा फ्रीली. और पहले अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस करेगा, अपने आप को जानेगा, he will become more aware of himself or herself, then he will be able to grow with the facilitation that is provided by the counselor. So the counselor works as a facilitator rather than a director. He or she doesn't direct the life and life decisions of the client. ये नहीं कहते कि आप ये करें और ये ना करें. हमने जब काउंसलिंग टेक्निक्स की बात की थी, काउंसलिंग स्किल्स की बात की थी, तो हमने ये बात डिस्कस की थी कि दिस इज़ अ नॉन हेल्पफुल एटीट्यूड व्हेन द काउंसलर सेज दैट डू दिस और दैट, यानी उसको डायरेक्शन देता है. द काउंसलर इज जस्ट बीइंग अ फैसिलिटेटर एंड ही डजंट वर्क टू और डजंट वर्क फॉर द क्लाइंट. उसके लिए काम नहीं करता बल्कि सिर्फ फैसिलिटेट करता है उसकी अपनी ग्रोथ को. Another thing is that the counselor makes limited use of psychological tests. अब ये बड़ी important बात है कि एक तो ज़्यादा interventions भी use नहीं होती client centered therapy में. It's a humanistic approach which actually believes in the capacity of the individual to grow in himself or herself. And that is why not many psychological tests are used. और psychological test इसलिए भी use नहीं किए जाते कि फिर आप एक एक नंबर, एक स्कोर जो है वो डिटर्मिन करते हैं कि हाँ आप इस स्कोर में बंद कर देते हैं क्लाइंट को, और उसके मुताबिक उसके बिहेवियर का तज्जिया करते हैं या इंटरप्रिटेशन करते हैं. लेकिन वन कॉमन स्ट्रेटजी इज क्वाइट ऑफ्टन यूज्ड एंड दैट इज क्यू सॉर्ट टेक्निक. और काउंसलिंग में इसका काफ़ी इस्तेमाल होता है क्योंकि ये बाकी टेस्ट से डिफरेंट है. व्हाट इज़ दैट क्यू सॉर्ट टेक्निक? इसमें क्या होता है कि देर आर 100 स्टेटमेंट्स ऑन रिटन 100 कार्ड्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम इंटेलिजेंट, आई एम independent, I am honest, I am capable, and so on. And then the client is asked to arrange them in 9 piles, which could indicate from most like me to the least like me. यानी कौन सी स्टेटमेंट्स हैं जो मेरी नुमाइंदगी करती हैं और सबसे ज़्यादा नुमाइंदगी मेरी करती हैं, और कौन सी हैं जो मेरी बहुत कम तर्जुमानी करती हैं. So they will be arranged in 9 piles. और अब जो 9 पाइल्स हैं, ये पहला काम है उसको अरेंज करना, व्हाट आर मोस्ट लाइक मी, एंड देन रेंज टूवर्ड द लीस्ट लाइक मी. उसके बाद सेकंड टेस्ट किया है कि आपने फिर अरेंज करना है 9 पाइल्स में, लेकिन अब इसके मुताबिक अरेंज करना है कि व्हाट वुड आई लाइक टू बिकम, मैं क्या बनना या बनना चाहती हूँ, which are the aspects of personality which I am wishing for, what are the different aspects of personality which I want to create in myself, जो मैं अपने आप में देखना चाहता हूँ या चाहती हूँ. आप उसके मुताबिक अरेंज करें. and to the least like which I would like in my personality. तो आप सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सी हैं जो चीज़ें चाहते हैं अपने आप में और सबसे कौन सी कम चाहते हैं. and then the counselor will look at the correlation between these two categorizations, कि आपकी ideal self में which you would like to become और आपकी real self में what you are, उनके दरमियान कितना incongruence है. and that is the point where the counselor is more interested. ये वो point है जहाँ पे वो ज़्यादा concentrate करना चाहता है कि ज़्यादा हमें क्लाइंट में कॉन्ग्रुएंस नज़र आता है या इनकॉन्ग्रुएंस नज़र आता है बिटवीन द क्लाइंट्स रियल एंड आइडियल सेल्फ. व्हाट आर द गोल्स ऑफ क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड अप्रोच? बेसिकली द गोल ऑफ द क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड अप्रोच इज एज इफ. व्हाट इज एज इफ? एज इफ का मतलब ये है कि अगर अ फ्यू कंडीशंस आर फुलफिल्ड, एज इफ फ्यू कंडीशंस आर फुलफिल्ड, देन it would indicate a definable process that could be set in motion and that could be responsible for bringing a change in the client's behavior and personality. अगर कुछ conditions जो हैं वो satisfy हो रही हों तो फिर possible है कि client जो है वो पूरी तरह से function कर सके और इस तरीके से function कर सके कि उसकी life में जो important changes हैं वो आ सकें. अब ये as if conditions कौन सी हैं? कौन सी सिचुएशंस हैं जो पहले होनी चाहिए जो हमारी गोल्स को डिटरमिन करेंगी? सो व्हाट आर द कंडीशंस फॉर ग्रोथ? व्हाट आर द एज इफ कंडीशंस फॉर ग्रोथ एंड डिटरमिनिंग आवर गोल्स? लेट्स डिस्कस अबाउट देम. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, देयर इज अ साइकोलॉजिकल कॉन्टैक्ट बिटवीन क्लाइंट एंड काउंसलर. वी हैव टॉक्ड in quite detail about psychological contact and relationship between client and counselor when we were talking about counseling skills. और counseling process में भी इसका थोड़ा सा जिक्र आया था. So the contact between client and counselor is in fact two-way because each person influences the other person in interaction. सिर्फ client नहीं है जो counselor से affected होता है, बल्कि counselor पे भी client का effect होता है. He could also get something from what the client is saying. उस पे भी क्लाइंट की बहुत सारी पॉजिटिविटीज़ जो हैं वो असरअंदाज हो सकती हैं. एंड दैट इंटरेक्शन इज़ टू वे. ये एक वो इंटरेक्शन नहीं है जिसमें द काउंसलर इज़ डूइंग समथिंग फॉर द क्लाइंट, बल्कि इसमें द काउंसलर इज़ डूइंग समथिंग विद द क्लाइंट. बोथ ऑफ देम आर वर्किंग अकॉर्डिंग टू वी फोकस. याद है हमने एक बात की थी कि ये एक डिफरेंट तरह के फोकस हो सकते हैं थेरेपी में, एंड वन इज वी फोकस वेयर टू पीपल विल बी वर्किंग टुगेदर to solve the problems or different issues. The second thing is minimum state of anxiety. That how much is the minimum state of anxiety on the part of the client that is required for a healthy change in the client's personality and behavior. इसको समझने के लिए एक मिसाल देती हूँ कि अगर client anxious है about the incongruence between his or her ideal self and real self, तो then this is an indication that the client will be more responsive, more motivated to work in therapeutic situation. तो client जो है अगर वो ज़्यादा anxious है अपने incongruence के बारे में, उसको realize भी करता है, तो then it is a good step, और आप ये कह सकते हैं कि it is a good condition for the growth. The third thing is counselor congruence. We have also discussed in detail this particular issue, and you could say that this is related with the attitude of the counselor. The counselor should be genuine, congruent in his behavior, और वो behavior non-verbal है या verbal है. He should be a genuine human being rather than presenting a facade to other people. एक mask लगाकर उसको सामने नहीं आना. He should not be presenting himself as a very skillful, expert person. But in fact, he should be working on the equal grounds with the client. Another thing is unconditioned positive regard. इसके बारे में भी पहले काफ़ी बात कर चुके हैं. The point here is that the counselor should accept the person on the whole. Although it is not essential that the counselor definitely agrees with what the client is saying. उसके किसी खास behavior पर client को objection भी हो सकती है, वो उससे disagree भी कर सकता है, but on the whole that person is worthy of respect. जिस तरह से कहा जाता है कि every citizen has a right to vote, इसी तरह से every human being has a right to get respect from other people in social interactions. चाहे उसके ideas और views हमसे कितने ही different क्यों ना हो, that should not matter in therapy. और मैं तो ये भी कहूँगी कि social interactions में भी ये important नहीं होना चाहिए, और नहीं होता कि if people are different, are different in their views. Everybody has a right to disagree from each other. लेकिन the thing is that everybody has a right to communicate their point of view, but it's not essential that the other person will be agreeing to that. Another important concept is empathic understanding. When you try to understand the phenomenological world of the client, and when you try to look at the world from the client's perspective, from his internal viewpoint rather than from where you are standing, where the counselor is standing, then empathic relationship is possible. इनके बारे में चूँकि बहुत डिटेल से पहले बात हो चुकी है, इसलिए मैं ज़्यादा डिस्कशन नहीं करती, लेकिन इन कॉन्सेप्ट्स का दोबारा जिक्र ज़रूरी था, इसलिए कि because these are the conditions for growth in client-centered therapy. And finally is the client perception. The counselor is being empathic. The counselor is providing unconditioned positive regard, is being very genuine. But still, if the client is unable to perceive that, तो फिर उसका क्या फ़ायदा है? So, the point here is that whatever behavior and attitude is demonstrated by the counselor, that should be perceived by the client accurately. और इसमें ज़्यादा दखल client की सलाहियतों का नहीं होता. इसमें क्लाइंट की बजाय काउंसलर की सलाहियत का ताल्लुक है कि वो किस तरह से अपना जो बिहेवियर है वो शो करता है. हाउ ही कम्युनिकेट्स दैट ही इज लिसनिंग इफेक्टिवली, ही इज बीइंग एम्पैथिक थ्रू हिज वर्बल एंड नॉन वर्बल एटीट्यूड. So if these conditions are fulfilled, then the goals can be achieved. And if these conditions are fulfilled, then there is a chance that the client will gain insight into his problem and then work himself for the solution, और जो भी issues हैं उनके साथ deal करने के काबिल हो सकता है. So what are the outcomes and goals as perceived by a humanistic or client-centered counselor? Number one is congruence of self and experiences. As we have discussed before, that the major problem is the incongruence between self and experiences. The major problem is the distance between ideal and real self, because if there is a distance between ideal and real self, I will be very vulnerable to criticism, to the remarks of other people. और मैं easily offend हो जाऊंगी, और जब मैं easily offend हो जाऊंगी तो मेरे interpersonal relationships जो हैं वो लोगों के साथ उस तरह से नहीं रह सकते if I am calm and I am on the taking end. जब मैं बाकी लोगों की चीज़ों को ऐसे ही accept करूंगी, उनके remarks को, और उसको non judgmentally देखूंगी, objectively perceive करूंगी. So the goal of the therapy or counseling is to maintain a balance or congruence in your desired and your real self. And secondly, to help the client perceive the locus of evaluation and the locus of choice to be within himself. So the client should be able to evaluate himself, and then he should have the responsibility to decide. He should have that locus of control. He should have the ability to control his life, not the counselor. Counselor को उसके लिए ना decision करने हैं, ना उसकी life को control करना है. It is actually the work of the individual client that he would decide according to his phenomenological experiences and his life choices. The third thing is when there is a congruence between self and experiences, that the client experiences more acceptance of others. And this is another goal of client-centered approach. जब हमारी ideal और real self में congruence होता है, when we accept the undesirable parts of ourself, क्योंकि ये मेरी ही ज़ात का हिस्सा हैं और मैं उनको accept कर लेता हूँ या कर लेती हूँ, तो then, as I stated before, लोगों का रवैया भी मेरी तरफ बदल जाएगा, because I will be accepting many of other people's attitudes toward me. और अगर incongruence होगा तो मैं लोगों की बहुत सारी बातों को reject कर दूंगी. I'll say ये ऐसे ही कह रहे हैं, ये चीज़ें मेरे में तो exist नहीं करती, ये झूठ बोल रहे हैं, मेरे से jealous हैं. So I'll be interpreting people's remarks in a different way. So if a person achieves congruence between self and experiences, then his or her relationships with other people will also be improved. What are the techniques that are being employed in client-centered approach? As I stated before, that psychological tests are not used much in client-centered therapy, क्योंकि ये समझा जाता है कि अगर बहुत ज़्यादा टेस्ट यूज़ किए जाएंगे तो आप जो है वो एक स्कोर में कैद कर लेते हैं एक इंडिविजुअल को, और एक स्कोर जो है वो पूरी तरह आपको बयान नहीं कर सकता. तो टेक्निक्स जो हैं वो एज सच बहुत ज़्यादा यूज़ नहीं होती क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड थेरेपी में. और आपको याद होगा कि जब हमने कॉमन करेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ अप्रोच इफेक्टिव अप्रोचेस डिस्कस की थी तो उसमें ये बात मैंने की थी. सो द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड थेरेपी शिफ्टेड द फोकस फ्रॉम व्हाट द थेरेपिस्ट डज टू हु द काउंसलर इज. सो the self is being used as an instrument in the client-centered approach. ज़्यादा दूसरे इंस्ट्रूमेंट यूज़ नहीं होते, but the personality of the counselor plays a dominant role in the outcome of therapy. So what a counselor does is not important, but how he does it and who he is. इससे मुराद ये नहीं है कि उसका स्टेटस क्या है, इससे मुराद ये है कि वो जेन्युइनली एक कैसा ह्यूमन बीइंग है, इन दैट सेंस दैट ही इज़ कैपेबल टू बिल्ड अ therapeutic relationship between client and counselor. So the techniques are simply ways of expressing and communicating an attitude. Techniques कुछ नहीं है ज़्यादा. Techniques हैं to communicate an attitude, and we have talked in detail about that attitude. What is that attitude? याद कीजिए. Being non-judgmental, giving unconditioned positive regard to the client, being an effective listener, and being congruent in your behavior and genuine. These are the elements which are required and which could be related with the attitude of the counselor, and which could serve as the instrument in client-centered approach. Although there are not many techniques that are being employed in client-centered approach, but there are certain emphasis in this particular theoretical orientation. अब ये emphasis किन किन चीज़ों पर है ये देखते हैं. The first one is here and now of the individual's existence. The counselor is not interested in past experiences of the client. Whatever happened in the past is gone now. He is more interested in here and now. The phenomenological world of the client. What is happening currently in the mind of the client? How he is feeling and perceiving at this moment is more important. And what is going on in the therapeutic process and sessions. इस पे ज़्यादा तवज्जो की ज़रूरत है according to client-centered approach. For example, if a client comes to the counselor और काउंसलर को ये पता चलता है कि he hates his brother, तो the counselor is not interested in the causes of that hatred कि माजी में क्या हुआ जिनकी वजह से ये hatred डेवलप हुई. इसके बरक्स अगर एक साइको एनालिटिक काउंसलर होगा तो उसका प्राइमरी फोकस जो है वो इस चीज़ पर होगा, लुकिंग एट द प्रीवियस फर्स्ट फ्यू इयर्स ऑफ लाइफ ऑफ द क्लाइंट, कि कैसे ये हेटर जो है वो भाई के साथ पैदा हुई और उसकी वजूहात क्या थी. मे बी दे आर रिप्रेस्ड नाउ और उसकी बजाय कोई टेक्निक्स यूज़ करनी पड़ेगी कि द रीजंस ऑफ दैट हेटेड कुड कम आउट थ्रू फ्री एसोसिएशन या फिर इंटरप्रिटेशन, एनालिसिस ऑफ ड्रीम्स एंड सो ऑन, जो आप पहले पढ़ चुके हैं. इसके बरक्स जो है कि ह्यूमनिस्टिक या क्लाइंट सेंटर्ड काउंसलर जो है उसकी कंसंट्रेशन ये होगी कि व्हाट आर द फीलिंग्स ऑफ हेटेड विच आर प्रेजेंट नाउ इन द माइंड ऑफ द क्लाइंट, और उसी पर फोकस किया जाएगा. द सेकेंड थिंग इज विच इज अगेन रिलेटेड विद हेयर एंड नाउ इज दैट जब आप हेयर एंड नाउ की बात करते हैं तो आप करंट और प्रेजेंट टाइम की तो बात करते हैं, लेकिन आप डायग्नोसिस नहीं करते और इसीलिए आप ज़्यादा साइकोलॉजिकल टेस्ट भी यूज़ नहीं करते. सो द डायग्नोसिस इज अनडिजायरेबल बिकॉज it suggests that certain individuals have the power to decide what is right for all individuals. When you diagnose a person, so it means you are superior. You can tell this person has this particular problem. और फिर इसका इलाज कैसे करना चाहिए and also suggest that I am capable to do that. और फिर आप जो जिम्मेदारी है वो क्लाइंट से उठ जाती है. इसका मतलब ये है कि you can diagnose, you can treat as a counselor, लेकिन क्लाइंट इस पोजीशन में नहीं है कि वो अपना इलाज कर सके बिकॉज उसको तो अपने बारे में नहीं पता. एंड द सेकेंड थिंग इज द डायग्नोसिस प्लेसेस इंडिविजुअल्स इन कैटेगरीज: ऑब्सेसिव कंपल्सिव डिसऑर्डर, एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर, फोबिक डिसऑर्डर्स और कोई और प्रॉब्लम्स. तो आप एक कैटेगरी में फिट कर देते हैं क्लाइंट को, एंड दिस इज नॉट वेरी ह्यूमनिस्टिक. और ये एक चीज़ जो है इसमें client-centered humanistic counselor does not want to trap the client in. Another thing is that diagnosis implies a denial of the unique qualities of each individual. The person is suffering from psychosis, the person is neurotic, the person is obsessive compulsive. तो आप उसकी unique qualities जो हैं उनकी तो बात नहीं कर रहे. You are taking that responsibility from the client that he is still capable to decide for himself, to make major life decisions. So that is why a client-centered counselor does not involve much in diagnosis. Another emphasis is on the emotional rather than the intellectual elements. It is possible sometime that the client on cognitive level knows what is the problem with him, but still he is not capable to change his behavior. It is only possible when the concentration is on the affect and on the feelings. इसीलिए हमने ये देखा था कि काउंसलिंग स्किल्स में ये बात हुई थी कि आप फीलिंग्स जो हैं उसको प्रोजेक्ट करें. Whatever underlies the statements of the person should be highlighted to the client. So it is important that feelings and emotions shall be given attention rather than cognitions or thinking of a person. और intellectual level पे बात नहीं होती बल्कि emotional level पर होती है. And then another point is that the counselor must be a patient and expert listener. This is very important to create a good therapeutic environment. where the counselor listens effectively, attentively, and that communication is also understood by the client. Client जो है उसको इस communication को समझ लेता है, इसको perceive कर लेता है, तभी तो उस पर भी उसी तरीके से उसका असर होता है जो आप communicate करना चाह रहे हैं. इसके बरक्स एक और बात है जो कुछ और theorists करते हैं. For example, Boye and Pine in 1982 suggest the expanded view of two phases to this effective client-centered relationship. They point out that it is not always essential that no technique is employed in client-centered approach because they believe in two phases of that relationship. The first is dynamics of relationship. According to them, dynamics of relationship is important. कि जो relationship है वो कैसे चलेगा, कैसे establish होगा. You are listening attentively, you are paying attention to what the client is saying, you are giving him unconditioned positive regard, you are being empathic in your attitude. Still, the second thing is the needs of the client sometimes require the use of certain techniques. Sometimes client को ज़रूरत होती है कि उसको कोई techniques use की जाएं, उसको direct आप मशवरा भी दे सकें. For example, कोई techniques use की जाएं जिनसे उनको guidance provide की जा सके, जैसे कि subject selection में, vocational choices में. तो in that way, sometimes techniques are really required according to some theorists. So finally, we are coming toward evaluation of client-centered approach. And when we talk about evaluation, we talk about both aspects, strengths and weaknesses. So let's first discuss strengths of client-centered approach. Client-centered approach revolutionized the counseling profession, demystifying it with the publication of an actual transcript of counseling session. They demystify the process of counseling. किस तरह से? Carl Rogers actually described कि कैसे ये जो है counseling होनी चाहिए, एक session जो है वो कैसे conduct करना चाहिए, और उसकी जो transcripts हैं, verbal interaction that is going on between a client and counselor, उसकी transcripts जो है वो maintain करनी चाहिए. और second thing is again related with that it provides clients with the kind of facilitative environment in which the focus is fully on their concerns. आप एक ऐसी environment create करते हैं जिसमें the concern is primarily on the problems of client. Or although Sullivan provided a framework for this particular approach, लेकिन इसकी जो depth है उसके बारे में client centered approach और Carl Rogers ने ही बात की है. So he was perhaps the first time he pointed out the importance of the client. It is not actually the counselor who is important, but the client is important. और उसके लिए एक facilitating environment जो है वो provide करना counselor का काम है. And also that counselor doesn't work for the client, rather he works with the client. And then it has generated a lot of research. जब से ये theory approach develop हुई है तब से बहुत सारी research जो है वो generate हुई है client centered therapy पर. और उसकी वजह से बहुत सारे जो concepts हैं they have become more and more clear to other people who are studying and practicing on that. Another point is that it actually empowers clients. It doesn't believe in deciding for the client, बल्कि counselor जो है tries to empower client by suggesting to him, बल्कि ये suggest directly नहीं किया जाता बल्कि अपने behavior से उसको ये एहसास दिलाया जाता है that the client, despite limitations in growth, still is able to decide for himself or herself. और एक जो मैं अभी बात कर रही थी कि इसको एक ट्रांसक्रिप्ट्स और सेशंस इनके बारे में बात की है, तो एक और मेरा मुझे एक पॉइंट जहन में आ रहा है कि Carl Rogers also talked about audio recording of counseling sessions. और ये सारा जो प्रोसीजर था वो एक ऑर्गेनाइज्ड और सिस्टमेटिक तरीके से काउंसलिंग में जो उसका आगाज़ हो रहा है ये Carl Rogers से ही हो रहा है. The client-centered concepts are applicable to a wide variety of helping situations and problems. One thing is that these concepts could be used in a variety of settings. For example, institutions, organizations, rehabilitation centers, and then in educational centers also. Educational और academic environment में इसको बहुत successfully use किया जा सकता है. At the same time, it is helpful for a wide variety of problems. For example, mild and moderate anxiety, adjustment problems, and uncomplicated bereavement, and certain conflicts of people. So it can be used effectively to a wider number of people and to a wider number of situations. What are the weaknesses of client-centered approach? One thing is that the approach is without clearly defined terms and techniques. For example, self-actualization, congruence, और उसके अलावा growth, कुछ elements हैं ऐसे जो कि बाज़ आप ये कह सकते हैं कि ऐसे clients जिनको बहुत ज़्यादा insight नहीं होती, who are not very educated, they may not be able to understand them properly. Especially अब हमारे मुल्क में देखें तो ऐसे concepts जो हैं वो आम शख्स है उसको समझ में नहीं आएंगे. Then the client often fails to understand what the counselor is trying to accomplish. एक therapeutic environment के साथ without techniques employing आप कौन सा मकसद हासिल करना चाहते हैं, sometime ये client की समझ में नहीं आता. The third problem is it ignores diagnosis and unconsciously generated impulses that have been emphasized by psychoanalytic school of thought. And then it deals only with surface issue because it doesn't go into the past experiences and details जो कि इंसान की ज़िंदगी में पुराने वाक़यात हों जिनकी वजह से अब करंट प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, तो इसकी डिटेल में नहीं जाते. Whatever is currently available and present in here and now is emphasized. And finally, it deals only with bright, insightful and hard-working clients जिनको अपने प्रॉब्लम्स में इंसाइट हो सकती है, who could be able to understand the incongruence between real and ideal self, who will be able to think critically and who are hard-working to take all that effort that is involved in this therapeutic process. So these were the primary concepts that have been presented by Carl Rogers as the founder of client-centered approach. What we have discussed today is that we talked about view of human nature as described and narrated by Carl Rogers, and we found out that it presents a very positive view of human nature, that human beings are capable to decide for themselves, they are able to make choices for their life, और जो उसमें काउंसलर का रोल है वो एक फैसिलिटेटर का है. काउंसलर helps identify and helps discover the main elements of one's personality, और उसके बाद काउंसलर फैसिलिटेट करता है कि जो क्लाइंट है वो अपनी लाइफ के इंपॉर्टेंट डिसीजंस कर सके, बट द काउंसलर इज नॉट सपोज टू डिसाइड फॉर द क्लाइंट. इसीलिए when the responsibility is given to the client, then you are empowering your client to make important decisions. And then we also talked about goals of the counseling process. Goals जो हैं they are determined by certain conditions if they are fulfilled. For example, if the client is given unconditioned positive regard, he is provided by the counselor an empathic attitude, and he is given respect, and he is perceived as a person who has a unique personality, तो फिर it is possible that the client will be able to achieve his goals. As far as techniques are concerned, we discussed today that not any particular techniques are employed in client-centered approach, क्योंकि जो client-centered काउंसलर है वो बिलीव ये करता है कि टेक्निक्स की बजाय एक एटीट्यूड है जो थेरेप्यूटिक आउटकम में हेल्प करता है, एंड दैट इज़ वाई नॉट एनी पर्टिकुलर टेक्निक्स आर एम्प्लॉयड. उसके बरक्स जो है वो कुछ चीज़ों पर एम्फेसिस है जिनका आज हमने जिक्र किया. फॉर एग्जांपल एम्फेसिस ऑन हियर एंड नाउ, एंड देन एम्पैथिक लिसनिंग एंड अटेंडिंग. एंड वी आल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट strengths and weaknesses of client-centered approach. For example, we discussed today that it is the first approach that gives importance to the individual client and to his phenomenological world. As far as weaknesses are concerned, तो weaknesses वही हैं जो कि पहले भी बात हुई है कि techniques जो particularly कोई emphasize नहीं की हुई client-centered approach में, or the focus is only on empathic attitude and relationship between client and counselor, and sometimes clients are not able to understand what does this all mean, or they are unable to understand कि कैसे एक therapeutic relationship जो है that could provide basis for a healthy and therapeutic outcome. स्पेशली हमें ये नज़र आता है कि पाकिस्तान में ये जो है ये क्लाइंट को समझाना मुश्किल होगा कि कोई टेस्ट यूज़ किए बगैर, कोई टेक्निक्स यूज़ किए बगैर कैसे एक हेल्दी आउटकम जो है वो अचीव किया जा सकता है। और एक बात और भी है कि दिस टेक्निक इज़ पर्टिकुलरली यूजफुल फॉर दोज पीपल who are hardworking, who have insight into their problem, because then they should be able to identify the incongruence between the real and ideal self. So this was all about client-centered approach. अगले लेक्चर में हम affective approaches में से Gestalt psychology का मुताला करेंगे। अगले लेक्चर में फिर मुलाकात होगी। अल्लाह हाफिज़।